Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and for the fourth video in a row I filmed today, yeah, if you're seeing a whole bunch of back-to-back videos with me looking like this, I'm really sorry, but I had so much stuff I needed to get filmed, so much stuff I needed to share with you guys, and after Vlogmas, it is kind of a compressed timeline to get these things done. So we're using one face of makeup, we're using one outfit, and we're just going to plow through all these videos, and they're going to come up over the course of today's New Year's Eve. So the next like 3 weeks, these will probably be popping up periodically every 2, 3, 4 days. I don't know. On Saturday, I'll do the whole thing all over again. I have a couple more videos that I know I'm going to want to film, but I'm not prepared to film them today. All that being said, I'm having a fantastic day. I hope you guys are too. I have already filmed my video discussing my 2020 goals. Now we're going to be discussing 2021's goals. So I have not completed my journal yet. This will end up being the first completed object of 2021. Once again, I do have all my bones and structure down, so I can start using it though. Give you a quick walkthrough. I use the Kaiser Crafts Crafternoon set for this so far. I will have flipping pages on this and this. On here, I will probably have another flip page that has projects I intend to do that are yarny crafts. I did remember to glue tabs this year. That way I can more easily flip, but this will be my yarny FOs page or section. If you watch me during Vlogmas, you will, and I did put a gusseted pocket in here for my ball bands as I work on projects. I told you I was going to do a tab down here so I can flip straight to my non-yarny FOs section. I did set that up as being one big section. Linked down below will be a link for the May Made It tutorial that led how to build this. I am not going to refilm her tutorial. She did a perfect job explaining how to cover composition notebooks to make yourself a journal. Y'all can watch her explain it because she's got much better setup for showing and explaining than I ever will have. She is amazing. It's like between Gary over at Urban Yarns, May from May Made It, and there was somebody else I was just thinking about. Like, can I just be a combination of all of them when I grow up? Anyway, this is my next section here. Got my little flip tab. And this is my biggest section. Obviously, it takes up most of my area. Got a pocket on this side. And this is for, I'll use this primarily for putting like little notepad, scratch pad informations in. But this is going to be where I list the project, list the hook and needle size, the yarn, the weight, but instead of having this pre-split so I can get 2 per page, I went ahead and left this blank starting out. And that way, if I have another project like my dad's Christmas blanket from 2020, I can use the entire page to write out all the yarns. I did a design of my own, and I needed a place to write the pattern so I could remember what I did for my slouch hat. That gives me the option to do 2 projects on a page or just one. But that's what that section is. It's all for my yarny crafts, specifically in detail. So I'll have this section that has the project, the weight, and the yardage used. This section will have all the details for the project. I'm hoping to print out pictures to add in here. That way I can hold on to ball bands, maybe some scraps of the yarn, things like that. I really want this journal by the end of the year to look like this because I have a lot of information. This was my first year doing this, and I still am learning what I want to keep track of for each year. So I would like to have that in there. This is my final section here. And this is where I will keep a more detailed list of my non-yarny FOs. We have another pocket here. And then we have the back cover. So this will end up being our first finished object, hopefully. I will get it decorated and information put in there. At the end of the year, I'm going to weigh the difference and count it as 2 separate projects. This will be building the journal, By the end of the year, the stuff I want to have scrapbooked into here will be a separate project. That will be the completion of the scrapbook. So this will be counted twice in my finished objects, non-yarny finished objects for this year. Once is a completed object for being done that I can use it. The next for all the things I add into it throughout the year. All right. This is 2020's journal. And in the back section here, I left it open for notes. What are my goals starting out for 2021? I want to break into 25 hanks of sock yarn once again. I have so much fingering weight yarn. It is unbelievable how much I have collected over the years. I really, really, really would like to see my fingering weight total for the end of the year being 2,500 yards. And that will include if I do another advent like I did for 2020 or something like that. But I really want my fingering weight total to end up at 2,500 grams for the year. So even if it's not necessarily breaking into 25 hanks, I would like to see I use 2,500 grams of sock yarn this year. I want to use 75 pounds of craft supplies total. I would like to make 400 cards. Last year I made 506. My mailing list has grown, so 500 is the goal for this year, or 400 still is the goal. Excuse me. Bourbon Creek Crafts, in collaboration with another content creator, which I forgot to look up before I started this video, is doing a year of usage of crafty supplies where you don't use up the supply, but you focus that month on using a supply. January supply is washi tape. The collaborators have already started their projects. They'll have everything ready to go, I think, on the 10th. I think she's replacing the 10 on the 10th kind of collab with that. But I cannot guarantee. I don't have some of the supplies on the list. So there would be months I couldn't participate, and I can't commit myself. I don't know what 2021 is going to be like to actually be a collaborator, though I will be sharing on Facebook and probably have like an end of the month video that, while is not a collaboration video, would correspond to her videos. I need to decide on what to do with the Jade and Stitches 2019 blanket. And that is actually its own thing on here. I don't know that I really want to do a whole bunch of applique, but I really want to finish something with it. So I want to finish my peppermint blanket. This is a carryover for the last 2 years. I would like to complete 10 blankets this year. I have 5 people I would really love to send blankets to, either at the start of fall or for Christmas. I would love to do blankets. I've done one for my mom, one for my dad on alternating years. And then like the person who didn't get a blanket got a hat and cowl set or something like that. I would like to give my brother and his wife their own personal blankets. I also have 3 youngins on my list that I want to make twin size blankets for. I would like to make 25 donation hats that are donated by the end of the year. I would like to focus on using my bulky weight yarn. I have a lot of bulky weight yarn that I'm not going to consider things like scarfy bulky weight because it's really a 4, but it's kind of a 5. But I have, the Charisma yarn. I've got some of the chunky Red Heart yarn. I've got some of the Peyton's chunky yarn. These aren't things I gravitate towards using necessarily, and I would really like to, because these are beautiful yarns and I really like the yarns, but they're just hanging out because I don't make that many bulky weight projects. So while I'm focusing on fingering weight, I also would like to focus on using up my bulky weight yarn. I would like to donate 5 shawls this year, make 5 shawls to be donated. Make 1 sweater, preferably knit this year. The knit sweater I started in 2020, I never finished and will be frogging because it doesn't fit. It's too big already. That'll be a whole nother video at some point, but yeah, I'm going to have to frog that sweater. Finish or frog all of my WIPs from 2020. If I'm not going to finish it, I need to just frog it now. If I am going to finish it, I need to spend January, February, March really focusing on finishing these leftover projects. I would like to go through my Red Heart and Impeccable collections and either use them, donate them, or rehome them. I have nothing against Red Heart necessarily. The Impeccable is very stiff. It's way stiffer than you think it is. It's not unpleasant to work with, but it is... yeah. That. So I really would like to start getting through just my Super Saver stash and my Impeccable stash one way or the other. I have other worsted weight acrylics that I prefer, like the Premier Anti-Pilling, Premier Basics. I really tend to grab those out of my stash long before I'm going to grab the Super Saver or Impeccable. So I really either need to use them or rehome them. Use enough yarn to start putting my 12 by 12 holiday specific paper pads on the bottom shelf of my Calyx unit behind you guys. In multiple videos, I've shared the yarn wall that exists in the back of my craft room behind the camera. I would like to start having holes. I have made 3 holes on that wall this year. And plus I've got, holes cropping up on the bookcase. I have not done poorly in 2020 in using things down, but I am having to put things back on the wall that either didn't fit when I put the wall up, were parts of projects that got completed and I had extra whole balls left over, things like that. So I would like to use enough that by the end of this year, I can start putting like my Halloween, my Christmas, my Thanksgiving paper pads that I use for card making on the bottom shelf of that unit. It makes it easier for me to grab what I'm looking for. Right now, Christmas is under my desk over here and the Calyx beside my desk. Halloween and Thanksgiving, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, all that is in my closet. I would like to have those sorted out in a more usable format, or pulling my solid cardstock out and putting those out so I can focus on using them next year. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I would like to use down enough of my yarn that can happen. Use 20 cakes of mandala. I think that's a very doable thing, especially since I have a lot of projects that call for carrying them 2 at a time. I have a stash of Dollar Tree notepads in the closet. I would like to finish using those up. I would like to get those covered, sent out in happy mail, sent out in gifts, just get them used up and out of my stash. I would like to finish off 20 rolls of washi tape. Now, I did that in the 4th quarter of 2020. I should easily be able to finish off 20 rolls of washi tape this entire year. That should not be a problem. That should not be a concern. But I want to make sure I hit 20 finished rolls of washi tape. It also, by putting this in this list format, it helps remind me to keep count of these things. So when I see this in my 2021 journal, I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to double check how much I used this year. The final thing on my list so far that is not new. Well, we'll skip that for now. There is one more thing on my list that is a crafty goal, but it's a little bit more involved. So I am starting off 2021 with a project specific list. I am really bad at forgetting. Wait a minute. I don't know what to start. I had XYZ on the list to start next. I have pre-started a list for 2021 of projects I would like to do this year. Some of these have been on my list now for over a year, and I keep forgetting, oh yeah, I've got the stuff to make that. I really need to make that. I have 2 balls of Cascade sock yarn already caked up and ready to go. I want to make a hat and cowl set out of those. And I'm thinking sock head, but maybe not necessarily sock head. I want to do the Road to Nowhere shawl using my knit crate yarn that I have had sitting in a box separate from my stash for 1 year. I've known exactly what project I wanted to do with it and keep forgetting to start it. So I want to make the Road for Nowhere to Nowhere shawl this year using the knit crate yarn. The blanket for my brother, the blanket for his wife, a granny pocket shawl in the Heartland wine color that I have. Now, I originally bought this to do like a cardigan and have since realized it would be perfect for the granny shawl that Summer made a couple months ago on Summer's Tips and Stitches. I want to make that shawl, and I want to make it with that yarn because it would be beautiful and I would wear it constantly in that wine color. For my birthday 4 years ago, I bought 2 gorgeous hanks of lilac, I think it's a DK weight yarn, with the intention to make the architecture scarf. I have the pattern. I have purchased this pattern. I am going to make it this year. I keep forgetting. It's not I'm afraid to make it or anything. I just keep forgetting I've got the stuff to do it. And this yarn goes with this pattern. I know, and I still, after 4 years, want to make that project with that yarn and just haven't done it. So that is on my list for this year. The 3 Kinder blankets I said I wanted to make. I want to younglings blankets. I also, if I have the opportunity, I made my godson's sister a blanket, a big, giant, colorful rainbow blanket. I would like to make my godson one. I keep forgetting to make him a blanket. Everything I've made has been too girly to gift. And when I mean girly, I mean like pastel pink and stuff like that. Like just not things, colors he's interested or things he's interested in. So I'd like to do one that, is bright and colorful, appropriate for his age group, but I just haven't done it. I have yarn in my stash that would be perfect, and I just haven't started it. So the other thing on here, that's the projects that I have. I will have a running tab, a running list on the front of my 2021 journal that I can update as other things come to mind. I know I'm forgetting things, but that's where we're starting 2021. Now, the yarn ban. Clearly, I have not yet reduced my stash by 50%. My goal is to eventually have my stash of yarns reduced by 50%. I want to make room for new stuff. I want to make room for things, more new and exciting things. I have been through my yarn stash every year for the last 5 years. I have laid hands individually on each skein of yarn, either digging through looking for something or in the course of the move. I literally pulled a lot of my worst or bulky weights out to look at them the other day. I have laid hands on my yarn so much. I love everything that is left in my stash. I'm not gifting it away. I'm not donating it. I'm not giving it to schools or charities or anything else. I want to work with this stuff. This is the stuff I want to work with. So last year I did more or less a no buy. For 2020, I more or less did a no buy. I allowed myself one big sale that I could purchase from and to finish a project. I really didn't buy yarn last year. I spent under $100 in yarn for myself that wasn't supposed to be included as part of a gift. Even with that, I spent $200 on yarn this year and bought some like super, super deep discounts off the blueprint thing, which that was covered in my 2020 How Did I Do goals. This year, I am going to do how was suggested by a couple of people last year. I say last year. Today's the last day of 2020 for me. For y'all, it was last year. There were a number of people who set up their yarn bands that you started each month or the beginning of the year with X amount of dollars. I'm going to spend $100. I'm giving myself $100 upfront. And every month you got an extra amount based on every 100 grams you used, whether it be $1, 50 cents, $2, whatever your amount was, you could That's what it was. So if you used only 100 grams of yarn, you only got an extra $2 to add to your running tally of things you're allowed to purchase. This year, for 2021, my budget is starting out at, get back here to my notes section, $246.17. And that is based on how much yarn I used in finished objects for 2020. And actually, that might not be yarn band. That might be the total amount. Hold on here. I might have messed it up. Nope. Okay, yeah. So my yarn kitty budget starting off the year is $246.17. That is based on the fact I used 24,400 and blah, 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 blah amounts of yarn this year. Yeah, I used a lot of yarn this year. I made lots of holes in my wall. Like I said, I made 3 full calyx cubes empty, and leftovers from projects, things I've just moved around, things I've been gifted this year have filled in those holes. But it's very hard to do a no-buy. It is very hard to deny yourself a new release when you just want to have an extra couple of things. Now, because I do review a lot of yarns on here, I did buy things with the purpose of reviewing. Some ended up not getting used, some did, but the intention was not to stash this. This is stashable budget. This is, I can buy it just to put it on the wall. Not to finish a project, not to do a review for the channel. Now, if I decide to not do the review out of laziness or just devil may careness, I will tack that on to what I've spent that month. But at the end of every month, I can add to my budget based on how much I use. And I will give myself $1 for every 100 grams of yarn used. Now, that could mean this year I end up with a final budget of $480. If it's like previous years where I've done a lot of blanket focus and things like that, I could end up with $600 as my annual budget. But it's going to all depend on how much I use as I go this year. I don't want to go another year with a no-buy. I did a no-buy in 2018. I've now done a no-buy in 2020. 2019, I went stupid crazy buying yarn, which is why I had to do it again this year. I want to use what I have. I have a lot of beautiful stuff to use. I have a lot of stuff I'm dying to use, and I keep not using it because I get distracted. So I do want to limit what I'm purchasing, but I do want the ability to purchase something I'm in love with, that this goes perfectly with something else that I have, and I want to hold them back for another project. I want to be able to buy something because it's a really good deal, and I can, buy 20 balls for the price of 3. When I bought all the cupcakes down here, I went in with friends and did a case deal where they were selling whole cases for $45. We split those up. I mean, it was $1 a cake. That's really hard to pass up. Now, granted, the deal wasn't that good this year from Lion Brand, but still, if those things crop up, I would like to be able to purchase what I want. This gives me the opportunity to buy back credits, and I'm starting with a budget that limits what I can buy. So if I spend all of my money on the big Knit Fit sale, which there are years where that's happened, that's fine. That's just my budget spent. But I have the opportunity to purchase things back. If I want to blow my budget on the Hobby Lobby sale, that's fine. I can do that. But if it's going to be stashed, isn't for something that I have to make, isn't for the purpose of review. There are things like, somebody joined the family and you want to make sure they have a scarf. You want to buy, you don't own, I don't own a lot of yellows. That's just not a color I gravitate towards. I've got like 2 balls of DK, 2 balls of worsted, 4 balls of worsted that's yellow. I have some maize and some gold, but like just yellow. What if somebody's favorite color is yellow and you want to make them a scarf? Or you're making a Hufflepuff scarf. I got plenty of black. Don't have any yellow. So I'm not going to be super strict with myself on this. But I do want to stay within my budget this year. I do want to really focus on staying on my budget. That doesn't include gifting people. That doesn't include, I ran out of yarn. I have the yarn to do 2 out of 5 blankets I know I want to do this year. And I know I have like enough to do the whole blanket for 2 out of 5. I will probably have to buy more yarn for that. I'm not going to count that against us. This is be flexible with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't browbeat yourself kind of deal. But as always with my crafty goals, these are not hard and fast things that have to be accomplished this year. These are reminders to myself of what intentions I have set out for myself. It also helps me to remember to be conscientious, and also like the project list. These are things that have been on my list for more than a year to make, and I keep forgetting. It's not that I don't want to make them. It's not that I don't have the time to make them. I just keep forgetting. So setting these goals for me is really about remembering things. Not so much like, you must or you fail. That's not the mentality I set with goals. That's not the mentality I set with health and well-being goals. That is not the mentality I set with eating goals. That is not the mentality that I set with crafty goals. These are just perpetual, constant reminders of the markers I am hoping to meet in a time frame. So I would love to hear what you guys are planning for 2021. Are there big projects that you have written down that you really want to focus on this year? Are there things that you have your headspace cleared for this year? I would love to know what you're planning. Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I will have information in the description box pertaining to things that I've said, people I admire, things I'm going to be participating in. Check it out. Also, if there's anything you want to communicate with me about that you don't feel confident leaving in an open forum, such as the comment section, my contact information is always listed in the description box of all of my videos. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions and comments and concerns. Thank you so much, you guys. I am looking forward to 2021. I have some things planned for this year that are going to be very exciting, at least for me and about 3 other people. And I cannot wait to see what you guys are doing this year too. Take care. I love you guys, and I will see y'all real soon. Bye.